The brand new White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, says the White House press briefing room will be open to alternative media like myself. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about our brand new White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, talking about the White House press briefing room, the Brady room, will be open to podcasters, bloggers, social media influencers. If you create legitimate news, you're able to apply to get the credentials. Now, this is a fantastic idea. Bravo. Hats off to Trump and them for having it open to us. Now, of course, I'll apply. If I don't get in, if I do get in, it's totally fine. It doesn't make a difference. I'm not looking for a job. All that I want to do is the same thing that the majority of alternative media wants to do, is to get out the truth. So, hey, however we can get the truth out, that's all that really matters. And before we get to that too deeply, congrats to Caroline Leavitt. You did amazing in your very first White House press briefing. Shout out to you. You're doing a very good job, especially since you came after Karine Jean-Pierre, who was terrible. All she would do is get up there all day and just try to spin the ridiculousness that Biden would do, get up there and straight lie to you in your face, not answer questions. She was just, the whole administration, it wasn't just Karine Jean-Pierre. It was everybody. It was just kind of, I just didn't like anything about it. You couldn't get any real answers. Everything was fake, choreographed. It was like watching the movie. But it's like, okay, you guys want to put on a performance. Meanwhile, I go to the grocery store and things are very expensive. So what's up? You want to take a little bit of time away from the Hollywood set to fix the economy, to fix the border and things like that? Now, you might remember Caroline Leavitt actually because she was on the campaign trail with Trump recently, and she went on CNN and got kicked off. Remember?
I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
Yes.
If you are here to speak on his behalf, I am willing to have this conversation.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay.
Now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Caroline, thank you very much for your time. You are welcome to come back at any point. She is welcome.
And CNN wonders why their ratings are in the tank, why the ratings have completely plummeted, and they got to fire people to try and save some kind of face. Why they got to run to the conservative guy, Scott Jennings, to save their network. Now, speaking about Caroline Leavitt, again, our brand new White House press secretary, she did a really good job answering the question about inflation. You know, I was saying this in the previous video that they would do this, trying to keep hammering the whole point about, oh, the prices haven't gone down yet. Man, been in there 1 week and you want the prices to immediately go back to the way they were in 2019. Totally ridiculous. Let's watch what her answer was to that astroturfed at this point question. Check it out.
Country and America is back. Christian Daytop.
Thanks, Caroline. Just real quick, you mentioned the inflation executive order the president signed, but egg prices have skyrocketed since President Trump took office. So what specifically is he doing to lower those costs for Americans?
Really glad you brought this up, because there is a lot of reporting out there that is putting the onus on this White House for the increased cost of eggs. I would like to point out to each and every one of you that in 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office, or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure, egg prices increased 65% in this country. We also have seen the cost of everything, not just eggs. Bacon, groceries, gasoline have increased because of the inflationary policies of the last administration. As far as the egg shortage, what's also contributing to that is that the Biden administration in the Department of Agriculture directed the mass killing of more than 100 million chickens, which has led to a lack of chicken supply in this country, therefore a lack of egg supply, which is leading to the shortage. So I will leave you with this point. This is an example of why it's so incredibly important that the Senate moves swiftly to confirm all of President Trump's nominees, including his nominee for the United States Department of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, who is already speaking with Kevin Hassett, who's leading the economic team here at the White House, on how we can address the egg shortage in this country. As for costs, I laid out the plethora of ways that President Trump has addressed saving costs for the American people over the past week. He looks forward to continuing to doing that in the days ahead. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And you know what? Not only, hold on, round of applause for her. Round of applause for her. Because that was great. Hey, not only did she do a good job up there at the podium, being able to express herself, being able to articulate herself, being able to get to the point, being able to cut through all the BS that the media puts out there. Not only did she do that, but she also is encouraging a lot of response from the crowd. Because when you're talking about the Biden administration, when you have Karine Jean-Pierre up there, it's kind of like ceremonial. You're not really going to get anything, but you actually get things from this administration. You actually are able to get honest answers to questions. Okay, now check it out. Here's an article. I can link to it in the box. It's the only one I found about this story specifically. I mean, I've seen other articles about, okay, Caroline Leavitt, her first day in the White House press briefing room, all this, that, and the third, but nothing about the specific thing, the main topic. White House says it's opening briefing room to podcasters, social media influencers, and content creators. Now, why do you think this story is not very widely reported on mainstream media? It's because we represent the end of them. They're not going to highlight us, because if people watch us and they trust us, then they don't trust them. They're not watching them. Therefore, their money, their credibility, their status, everything just goes away. It goes away. Now, let's get to this right here, okay? And shout out to Charlie Kirk for reposting this. This is her talking about how the briefing room will be open to the alternative media. All right, check it out.
This White House believes strongly in the First Amendment. So it's why our team will work diligently to restore the press passes of the 440 journalists whose passes were wrongly revoked by the previous administration. We're also opening up this briefing room to new media voices who produce news-related content and whose outlet is not already represented by one of the seats in this room. We welcome independent journalists, podcasters, social media influencers, and content creators to apply for credentials to cover this White House. And you can apply now on our new website, whitehouse.gov/new media. Starting today, this seat in the front of the room, which is usually occupied by the press secretary's staff, will be called the new media seat. My team will review the applications and give credentials to new media applicants who meet our criteria and pass United States Secret Service requirements to enter the White House complex. So in light of these announcements, our first questions for today's briefing will go to these new media members whose outlets, despite being some of the most viewed news websites in the country, have not been given seats in this room.
There we go. So shout out to, again, Caroline Leavitt, our brand new White House press secretary, opening it up to all of us. All right. Now, as I close, I want to say this. This is a great thing for freedom of press. And the thing about the White House, they were trying to restrict, with the previous administration, the Biden administration, they were trying to restrict access to conservative media, to anybody that was independent, that kind of lean conservative. I mean, there was a one guy, Simon, I know I'm talking about, African guy, and he was in there, he was just doing his thing, reporting, and then all of a sudden they canceled his credentials and said he wasn't able to go in there anymore. But you kind of understand why, because you go into social media, it's more conservative leaning, and they don't really want that. They don't want the bright parts of the world. They don't want the conservative alternative media. They just want the same old guard, people that they can manipulate and trust to put out a positive story about them, or a thing that's going to be misleading, or sometimes people that have White House press briefing credentials, they work for a network that is actively like a lobbyist for the Democratic Party in the case of the previous administration. But now we get a truly free, fair press. They're not going to keep away the liberal people. They're going to have the mainstream media in there. They're going to have the alternative media in there. And then at the end of the day, as I close for real, it'd be up to the people. We the people. We got to decide, okay, who's giving the right information, who's giving the wrong information. But as I always tell y'all, don't trust them, don't trust me. Do your own independent research. And I think that having the White House press briefing room open to so many people, it gives us more information. It gives us more it gives us more nutrition to chew on. And then at the end of the day, we probably be able to figure out the answer better by having a wider range of voices rather than pretty much one voice, which is the old guard, the old school mainstream media. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What are your thoughts on Caroline Leavitt? Did she do a good job, a great job, amazing job at her first White House press briefing? Whatever y'all thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. First of all, she did fantastic. And again, congrats to her. I look forward to seeing many more of your press briefings. I look forward to having more questions answered by the White House press secretary. So I'm definitely in favor of her. It was a good selection, Trump administration. And as far as the seat being open to alternative media, hey, this should be the case regardless of the administration, whether it be on the left or the right. I don't want the right to cancel out the left and their media, nor do I want the left to do the same to us. I want it to be open regardless of who's in there. Because at the end of the day, like I say, don't believe anybody. Listen to people, listen to trusted sources, but do your own research and come to your own conclusion. Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.